Coming up on District Wire News, Decision 2012. Super Tuesday is tomorrow and the candidates are ramping up their campaigns. We've got team coverage on the Republican nomination and the presidential election.
And controversial comments. Rush Limbaugh is in hot water after a comment about contraceptives in a Georgetown University student. District Wire News starts right now. Good evening, I'm Maria Hallis.
And I'm Yasmin Al-Sabawi. It's Super Tuesday tomorrow, which means that 10 states will open the polls for the Republican race to the White House. Candidates have been intensifying their attacks, and CNN's Jim Acosta previews the big day.
Wow. What a Seattle welcome.
In search of a little delegate nirvana, Mitt Romney stopped just outside of Seattle, where he was all too eager to throw out some helpful tips for Washington State's caucuses on Saturday.
By the way, if you go to Romney WA, now you know what the WA stands for, RomneyWA.com, it will tell you, if you put your address in, where the closest caucus site is.
Winning the contest means momentum heading into Super Tuesday, when more than a third of the delegates needed to clinch the nomination will be up for grabs, which is why the gloves have come off, with Romney suggesting Rick Santorum could be a presidential embarrassment.
And I won't embarrass you in the White House.
In the Super Tuesday battleground of Ohio, Santorum has a slight edge, so the Romney campaign is carpet bombing him there with negative ads.
In the Senate, Rick Santorum voted for Planned Parenthood.
I support, Title X.
Accusing the socially conservative Santorum of being unprincipled.
Rick does this a lot.
As he's out there telling lie after lie after lie.
At his own events in Washington State, Santorum accused Romney of lying, saying he's just another GOP moderate who will lose in the fall.
Look at the races in the last 30 years. We nominated a moderate, McCain, Dole, Jerry Ford. When George Bush ran for re-election back in 1992 after raising taxes and increasing spending, they all ran as moderates. We all lost.
We are back. El Rush Ball.
But there's one wild card in the days before Super Tuesday. Conservative talk show host Rush Limbaugh has put the Republican Party on defense after he insulted a woman who testified before Congress on the importance of birth control coverage.
It makes her a slut, right? Makes her a prostitute. She wants to be paid to have sex.
Governor Romney. When CNN tried to get Romney's take on the controversy, he walked right by our camera.
Oh, Governor Romney, do you have a comment on Rush Limbaugh's comments on contraception, sir?
It's all part of Romney's careful, do-no-harm strategy to stay on the hunt for delegates.
To caucus for Mitt Romney for President of the United States.
One of his top surrogates in Washington State, radio host Michael Medved, says Romney is struggling to put away his opponents, in part because he plays it safe.
What you're seeing is that the Republican Party wants to fall in love. They want an inspirational figure like Ronald Reagan. I see Governor Romney more like President Eisenhower.
Super Tuesday is the biggest day in the GOP race. Frontrunner Mitt Romney must win Ohio to lock down the presidential nomination. The former Massachusetts governor picked up endorsements from prominent Republican Eric Cantor and Tom Coburn over the weekend. Romney heads into tomorrow's vote well ahead of Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum, who didn't make Virginia ballot.
One big part of the electorate all presidential candidates are courting is the growing Latino population. The latest polls show Mitt Romney has the lead with the Republican Latinos. Arushi Sharma has the breakdown.
Voters in 10 states will cast their ballots on Super Tuesday, a day that could select which Republican candidate will face off with President Obama this fall. One of the most significant demographics that candidates seem to be targeting is a Latino vote.
I would say that the Latino vote is very important in some key states that tend to be conservative. And so there are states where there are possibilities where that Latino vote can actually make a difference.
But with the economy and immigration reform in the minds of most Latinos, recent polls suggest that Latinos are still largely in favor of President Obama. Among Republican contenders, Mitt Romney leads with 35% of the votes, while Ron Paul and Newt Gingrich face off in a tighter race with 13% and 12% respectively.
Latinos will argue that they really made a difference for President Obama in the last election. Now, certainly lots of minority groups turned out, lots of young people turned out in the last election, but if Latinos stay home, rather than vote. That can really be the difference in a key state.
According to the National Association of Latino Elected Educational Fund, Latinos will consist of 12.2 million voters in the 2012 elections, or 8.7% of the country's total. This is Arushi Sharma, District Wire News.
And former House Speaker Newt Gingrich says he's confident going into tomorrow's vote, but he will need a victory in Georgia to keep his campaign competitive. Georgia has the largest number of delegates up for grabs. Gingrich stops short of predicting a win in other Super Tuesday states, only saying he expects to do very well.
And we're staying on top of the day's political stories and taking a look at the evangelical vote carrying Rick Santorum's campaign. We'll have that for you in about 10 minutes' time.
Vladimir Putin won the Russian presidency Sunday with an overwhelming number of votes. He took the stage to declare victory. A tear slid down his right eye as he stood before a cheering crowd. He returns to office in a more weakened political state than he held 12 years ago when he first took power. Many of his countrymen are far more assertive and ambitious.
President Obama is not backing down from strong comments about Iran. In an interview with The Atlantic magazine, Obama warned that a premature military strike against Iran may inadvertently help the country. He's asked the world to exercise patience. Those are the president's most direct remarks on U.S. military action against the nuclear threat.
A winter snowstorm is hitting the Midwest and South right now and making tornado cleanup hard. So far, at least 39 people are dead after tornadoes hit Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Alabama, and Georgia. Several towns devastated by Friday's storm system are only now beginning to pick up the pieces. CNN's Chris Welch reports.
Why did this happen? I don't care. It did.
At Henryville Community Church in southern Indiana, the focus is on healing.
Some of our folks could not get in this morning. So many of you have lost everything. Many of you have lost vehicles. Some of you slept in your garages last night.
And the 80-member congregation in this small town is getting a lot of help from a disaster relief group and ordinary people.
I got here at 6 a.m. at dawn when they allowed us in, and these guys were already here. They've had a couple semis that have come and brought lots and lots of materials.
From food and water to bedding and clothing, they've got it covered for families that lost everything in Friday's storm.
Today, we're just trying to see if we can organize everything to be able to distribute food, be able to distribute clothes, toiletries as people come in and need them, and the things that they need so that they can get their life back together.
The church has been feeding the needy for the past 2 years with the help of a food bank in Louisville, Kentucky, just 20 miles south. Pastor Cheek said that was practice.
Okay, got it. I keep hearing this phrase about this little church. Friday night, people from all over the country and the world, people from England, people from all over the world were calling my cell phone. That's scary. I don't know how they got it. And they're saying, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming.
Cheek said the church has much to be thankful for, despite badly damaged homes and cars and families deeply shaken by the storm.
It was just a few weeks ago that we said this phrase, don't just go to church, what? Be the church. Nobody in our community, I think, has lost hope. I think it's renewed hope.
Athena Jones, CNN, Henryville, Indiana.
A D.C. Council campaign volunteer will be in court today after police said he stabbed a neighbor to death on Sunday. Ellsworth Colbert has been charged with second-degree murder while armed. The victim is 37-year-old Robert Wright, whose dog allegedly defecated in Colbert's yard, prompting the attack. Colbert is currently a volunteer on Kevin Javou's campaign, who is running for a Ward 7 council seat.
Lawmakers in Maryland are proposing a law that would ban smoking in cars with children. Senator Jenny Forehand has been working on the ban for the past few years. The bill makes it illegal for anyone, driver or passenger, to smoke in a car with children under the age of 8. Smoking in a car would be considered a moving violation, and the penalty would be less than $50. Arkansas, Louisiana, California, and Maine recently passed similar laws.
And a bald eagle found last weekend by the Van Dorn Street Metro Station has been euthanized. A conservatory of Virginia hoped to rehabilitate the bird, but its injuries were too extensive. The group worked with Metro and Animal Control to rescue the eagle in Alexandria last weekend. The bald eagle is a protected species, and the bird's feathers will be made available to certain Native American tribes for use in religious rituals. Rush Limbaugh issued an apology over the weekend after making explosive comments about Sandra Fluke, a law school student from Georgetown University. Nadia Batson reports from Georgetown about the controversy and how students there are reacting to Limbaugh's apology.
Not too long ago, medicine and politics had nothing to do in common. But recent developments in the political arena have changed it.
Something that, affects people on a regular basis should not be, used as ammunition as it has been. A matter of medicine that's been dragged into politics.
Georgetown University student talks about the contraception debate and its recent milestone. Sandra Fluke spoke out before the House Democratic Steering and Policy Committee on women's health and contraception several days ago.
What we were talking about was private insurance covering a medical need. It has nothing to do with the government paying for anything or taxpayers or anyone like that.
Radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh expressed his opinion about Fluke and those who support her.
Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex. What does that make her?
We talked to medical professionals to find out what they think about the debate.
It's very indicative of where the country is lying politically at the moment. I think ideally we should not have ever had to have this discussion. It should never have been an issue about if contraception should be covered or not.
Nevertheless, the discussion continues. It becomes a bigger part of the conversation of politicians, not doctors. Nadia Batson, Washington.
Coming up next, shocking and controversial political signs inside metro stations in D.C. You might have seen them, but who is paying for them? We'll show you the signs after the break.
And Japan debuted a new cargo ship, but this isn't your average boat. We'll see what makes it special coming up next.